Good evening. I'm Fatin Faisal and you're watching Economic Pulse with Shahbaz Rana. Pakistan is at a major economic turning point. Under the $7 billion IMF program, the country is moving towards opening up its economy on a significant scale. More than 2,600 non-tariff barriers are now under review, covering everything from cars and mobile phones to agriculture and pharmaceuticals. Many of these measures were originally designed to protect local industries, but they may now be rolled back. The government says this will improve efficiency and competitiveness. Critics, however, are questioning timing and preparedness. So the question is this the reform Pakistan needs right now or a risk we are not fully ready for? To help us make sense of these developments, we're joined by Mr. Shahbaz Rana. It's great to have him with us. He'll help us understand this shift. Welcome, Mr. Rana. It's a delight to have you here. Firstly, I would just like to get your views on, there's been an increase in the oil prices. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that increase was not expected at all, at least to the extent of the petrol prices, because there was fluctuation of the prices as far as the diesel is concerned, and the diesel prices was increased by about rupees 27 per liter, and that was justified because there was no increase in taxes. But when it came to the petrol prices, the increase is not justified. Instead, there was a reduction of about rupees 3.5 rupees per liter in the international market. But increasing taxes at a time when the prices are going up in the international may not be the right decision. After the last increase, the new price of the petrol is it's about rupees 393 per liter, and this rupees 393 per liter includes rupees 107 per liter in the shape of petroleum levy, then another rupees 25 per liter in the shape of custom duty. So it was not justified as far as the increase in the prices of the petrol is concerned. Prime Minister should not have increased the taxes. This is not the time to raise taxes when people are already suffering. And you know, the fundamental problem here that always remains in case of Pakistan is the poor performance of the Federal Board of Revenue. The FBR was not able to achieve its targets and to meet another IMF condition of achieving the primary budget surplus target. The government has to increase these taxes, which is quite unfortunate, but this is what has been done yesterday.
So the increase in these prices is contingent on our situation with the IMF?
Absolutely, because this was the demand by the IMF that the petroleum levy rate on each product, the high-speed diesel and petrol, should be rupees 80 per liter. Right now, the tax on petrol is 107 per liter, and that is because there is no petroleum levy on high-speed diesel. The government strategy right now is to increase taxes on petrol instead of increasing on high-speed diesel. And the rationale that the government gives is that the diesel is mostly used in public transport, in the agriculture sector, so people who are the user, they may not be able to pay high prices. But this argument also applies to the petrol, because who are the users of the petrol? The motorcycle owners, they are not the rich people. Small cars owners, they are not the rich people. So this is the argument. The IMF demand is simple. You have to put rupees 80 per liter tax on diesel and petrol. So the Prime Minister has chosen to put the entire tax on petrol, which is not justified.
Right. So rolling back to our topic that I've just introduced, Pakistan is planning to review and remove over 2,600 ton tariff barriers. Do you see this as necessary economic reform, or are we opening up the economy too quickly?
Well, Pakistan's economy is a closed economy. Multiple attempts have been made in the past. The first attempt was made back in 1990s when Pakistan started opening its economy during the regime of the then Prime Minister Mia Mohammad Nawaz Sharif. Then we again saw various phases where they were reversed. Now, it is said about Pakistan that the country does not trade much with the world. It does not sell much to the world. It doesn't buy much from the world. One example could be that the size of Pakistan's international trade in terms of size of its economy is hardly 1/4, 20% of the GDP, the size of the international trade of Pakistan. Compared to this, India's trade size in terms of GDP is 45%. And if you talk about Vietnam, it is 180%, 180%. The size of the international trade. Singapore, it's 300%. So what is the problem here? The problem here is that over a period of time, the successive governments, they have given the protectionist policies to the local businesses. Now these businesses are not ready to open up because they have to compete with the rest of the world. Now, with this background, the IMF has come up with a plan which is a two-phase plan. The first phase is that all the tariffs will be either on the international trade, mostly on imports, they will either be reduced or eliminated where there is no justification. Like there are three types of tariffs. Mostly imports are subject to the custom duty, but in case of Pakistan, the government of Pakistan has imposed, in addition to the custom duty, the additional custom duty and the regulatory duty. The IMF point of view is that these are the additional taxes, so these taxes have to be removed. So this is the tariff part, but there is another aspect of this protectionism, that is the non-tariff barriers that you are talking about. Under pressure from the IMF, the government of Pakistan undertook a review. According to that review, the findings are that there are more than 2,600 non-tariff barriers, and because of those barriers, you can't import at a speed which should be a normal speed. Like in your case, you use a mobile phone, a smartphone. There are non-tariff barriers. If you buy a smartphone, like if you buy a product from Apple, Samsung, any foreign company, what you have to do? This is my question to you. You have to go to the PTA website and you have to register yourself. You have to pay an extra tax to the Federal Board of Revenue. So what is that? That is the non-tariff barrier. So IMF point is quite simple. You have to lower these guards, these non-tariff barriers, as well as the tariffs. Tariffs, it doesn't mean you have to eliminate all the tariffs. You have to be competitive. You have to be at par with the rest of the world. So that is the IMF plan.
But Mr. Rana, do you think Pakistan can handle such a major shift without disruptions?
Well, there is never a good time to open the economy. There will always be winners and losers. And if we go sector by sector, if you take the example of auto sector, the automobile sector, I mean, you are paying a price which may be of a car, of a normal car, that may be a price of a Mercedes or BMW in anywhere in the world. And what kind of things are applied here? If you look at the automobile sectors, on the completely knocked down units, meaning thereby there are parts of the vehicles that are imported, and then the complete built unit, the cars are imported in one shape, in one form, complete form. So what kind of barriers are imposed? Because to protect the local industry, the assemblers, if you have a choice, you may not like to go to any of the existing assemblers. You may like to import a car from London, from anywhere in the world. So what the government does, the government does not provide the foreign exchange that is needed for the import. There are delays in approvals for these imports. Then there are additional regulatory duties, additional custom duties are imposed on these cars. So people are discouraged to import these vehicles. Given this background, now the IMF has asked, which we will discuss later on as well, a new auto policy that has to be given. So we are just talking about the non-tariff barriers. The one simple thing that you need some kind of approvals from any government body, or you are not provided the required foreign exchange, would discourage you from buying a car from abroad and keep relying on locally assembled cars which are not of a good quality.
That makes sense, but as we know that this reform is part of the IMF program, so does that raise concern about how much control Pakistan essentially has over their own economy?
So that's a very wonderful question, the economic sovereignty question. But sometimes the IMF programs are good. Under these programs, the governments are forced to do things which are good for which are in the benefits of the people of Pakistan, which are in the benefit of the government itself. But sometimes there are very strong lobbies that stop opening up the economy. If you ask my personal view, I wouldn't say that Pakistan should be in the IMF program, because this is not an ideal situation. Under the IMF program, you have to implement the fiscal stabilization policy. Sometimes you need to grow, but you cannot grow. Exactly same point is here. Why the IMF is asking Pakistan to open its economy. The size of international trade in terms of GDP is hardly 25%. And when Pakistan wants to grow, it cannot grow. Why it cannot grow? Because Pakistan's exports are not growing. Why Pakistan's exports are not growing? Because the companies are not encouraged to sell their products outside. They enjoy enough protection because the imports are not allowed. They have captive consumers, captive market. You don't have a choice but to buy a local car. You don't have a choice but to buy some local products which are expensive and not of a good quality. And the government of Pakistan ends up running a current account deficit, a trade deficit, just because we are not able to export. So for Pakistan to grow, for Pakistan to have better quality of goods, we need to open up. I'm just giving a few more examples. Like in case of mobile phones, we have discussed the smartphones are not allowed, the consumer electronics are not allowed. You need to have a certificate or some kind of registration permission from the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority. Why to get registered with the PT? I don't understand that. It's just a kind of a restriction on you. Then high regulatory duties on these imports. Then import licensing constraints. If you look at the home appliances, refrigerators, air conditioners, washing machines, what kind of non-tariff barriers are applied? Import restriction via banking channels, discretionary clearance delays, and but at the same time, there are products which the countries may not like to import. Agriculture is one of those sectors which are heavily protected in many countries in the world. This is sensitive issues for countries like Australia, America. But in case of Pakistan, here I have some reservations. IMF is also asking Pakistan to open its food sector for the international competition. That may not be good for Pakistani farmers who are not well trained, who don't have the enough resources for competition. And but there is a requirement by the IMF to reduce the non-tariff barriers, which can allow the import of meat, dairy products, packaged foods, and all those non-tariff barriers that are restricting the imports may go away in June this year. Then there are also goods which a few countries may not like to import, because these carry huge fiscal implications for the country, for the government, because a country like Pakistan, it doesn't have high foreign exchange reserves. But under the new plan, you may be able to import luxury and non-essential goods which the government calls itself, like cosmetics, the other pet food. This is an interesting topic in Pakistan, whether you can import pet food or not. And same is true for the steel construction inputs. At this point in time, there are difficulties in importing steel bars, other than for the few manufacturers or for the factories. Then textile is again heavily protected sector in Pakistan, but this may again be open up to the competition. So let's see how this plays up. But one thing that has to be highlighted here, that the government has not done proper consultation with the local industry.
We'll have to pause there. As Pakistan moves ahead with a major tariff overhaul, the question is, are we opening up for growth, or are we exposing ourselves too fast? And next, what does this mean for the future of the auto sector as decades of protection begin to unwind? We'll be right back after a short break.